Boston, the winningest sports city this century. Each championship deriving from a plan. Join us as we discuss the next Boston Banner Blueprint with your hosts, Josh Finkel, Nick Walsh, and Nate Philbrook.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Boston Banner Blueprint podcast. It is episode 30. I am here with Nick and Fink. It is your host, Nate. I'm going to throw it to Nick to change things up and plug those socials. Let's get this thing going, Nick.
Well, I don't know if this is a job promotion or what, but I guess it's my turn to do this. So you can find us on Twitter/X, or I know Nate wanted to just go with X from the past episodes, but that's Boston Banner BP. Facebook and Instagram, it's Boston Banner Blueprint. TikTok, Boston_Banner_BLU. And also on Apple and Spotify and YouTube at Boston Banner Blueprint.
I'm going to give that a 7.5.
Yeah, that was a lot better than I did. Started off a little rough, but yeah, I mean,
passing great.
Brought it together and brought the W home. Good job, Nick.
100%.
C's get degrees, as Fink found out this year in his senior year.
Well, you know what a doctor is that finishes last in his class, right?
Still a doctor.
Exactly.
And thank goodness you will not be one of those.
I'd be a great one. I could fix your chin.
You could fix my chin. Shout out Eddie. Go ahead, Fink. Let's get this ball rolling.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to go through. Obviously, Bregman, he's down. Mayer comes up. I mean, the Red Sox are still 500. We can't get out of this, 5-year
Below
loop of
500.
Below 500. You're right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's miserable. We're in Milwaukee right now. Lost last night. Crochet gives you what you need, and you still can't find a way to win. You play Baltimore. They can't pitch to save their lives, and you split with them. I mean, kind of a weird series though. A lot of rainouts, a lot of weather, it doesn't really matter. You still got to win those games. It's just frustrating. Nick.
I just want to relish in the moment that for the first time ever, Fink opened up the show not being Mr. Positive. There was a little negativity in there, and
there's no negativity at all. I just said I'm frustrated. I'm not bashing on anybody. I might get into that. I want to see some different things, but I'm not being negative.
It's negative for you.
May I jump in?
I guess. Yeah,
Of
Nate.
course.
So I can hear why you'd be frustrated, Fink, as you're right. It's been a perpetual 5-year loop of just, I think the word to use is mediocrity. They've just been middle of the road for 5 years. And this year we finally had the expectations and all of the additions that they made in the offseason were painting this picture of Red Sox reclaiming their rightful spot at the top of the AL East, and the Red Sox, rejoining the baseball elite as being a World Series contender. And as we're finding out, it's just not that easy. Now, with that said, I don't blame Breslow and crew for the moves that they made, because all the moves that they've made have really worked out well. I'd say probably the worst one. Go ahead, Fink.
Could you blame them for the lack of moves in some other areas?
Elaborate.
Lack of a first base option for if Casas does go down, especially with the history. Lack of a third catcher. I mean, you're not going to get it through any season with 2 catchers. We've seen that. I mean, Wong went down early, and you got Blake Sable, who, if you read his scouting reports, it says he's a left fielder trapped inside catcher's gear. So, I mean, guy couldn't throw out anybody. He was awful. The bullpen, Nick.
I was going to say you can, and that was not to hammer home the point that we made all the way back in episode 1, where I wanted depth and major league quality talent at every position, but also in the same breath as what Nate was saying, all the moves have worked out that they have made, and it wasn't something that was going to get solved in just one offseason. At the end of the day, this team is better than what their record shows. Unfortunately, they don't know how to hit in situations. They don't. It goes back to Jim Rice was right during the spring training. These guys are just analytically driven and don't know how to play baseball in the batter's box. They don't know situational hitting. How many one-run games have they lost? How's their batting average with runners in scoring position as a team? Not great. And that comes down to fundamentals and knowing how to play the game and not just knowing how to play the numbers.
Yeah, so to all of those points, I mean, all the offseason additions have worked out well, right? I mean, Crochet, as you mentioned, go ahead, Fink.
Never mind.
What? You're going to interrupt my thought and then say never mind?
Sorry.
All right, so Crochet, he's been better than advertised. He's been awesome. I believe as we sit here today on May, there's something late in May, he's top 5 in innings pitched in the league. He's top 5 in strikeouts. He's top 5 in starter ERA, and then he's also top 5 in losses. And you can correct me if I'm wrong there, but that's just those are 3 things that shouldn't, or 4 things that should not go together. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, and on top of Garrett Crochet, here's a stat that will really highlight how great or lack of greatness the Red Sox lineup is. You just hit on it. Crochet has been more than advertised. Like, he is everything you wanted and more when you brought him in. And at this point, through 12 starts this year, he has less wins than he did last year through 12 starts with the Chicago White Sox. Statistically on pace to be the worst team in baseball history. And he had more wins with that starting lineup last year at this point in the year than he does with this Red Sox lineup. Like, you can bring the ace in all you want, and the ace is doing his job, but he's being let down by the other guys on the field. And there's no way to sugarcoat around that.
Yeah. So you're further cementing my point is Chapman has done well. Bueller has been serviceable. I think anybody that thought about him coming in as a number 2 is kind of rethinking that thought process, but still he's coming around to form. But really it's the regression that we've seen from some of the guys that we counted on a lot last year. Duran has not been anywhere close to the 2024 Duran. And I mean, I still have hope that he's going to start swinging a hot bat and he's going to start impacting the game on the offensive side a lot more than he has. But, Tanner Houck was an all-star last year. And I mean, he's been absolutely horrendous. And then you look at some of these other, go ahead, Fink.
He was a first half all-star.
Well, yeah, but he was an all-star through the all-star break. And I mean, he earns that well. But if you look at, I mean, going back to the depth pieces that you're talking about, I mean, everybody was super hyped about Christian Campbell, and I am not putting any of this fault on him, but in his last 19 games, he's hitting 107 with 23 strikeouts, and he's hitting $120 with runners in scoring position. Wilyer Abreu, in his last 11 games, he's hitting 147 with 8 strikeouts, and he's 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Trevor Story, his last 29 games, he's hitting 132 with 40 strikeouts and 172 batting average with runners in scoring position. One more thing. Ceddanne Rafaela, in his last 11 games, he's hitting 094 with 9 strikeouts, and he's 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position. So, I mean, that's just, to Nick's point, that's just not going to get it done. Go ahead, Fink, with your point.
Yeah, and back to Story. I mean, he has 2 extra base hits in that span. One was in a game that they're already winning, and then one was off a third baseman.
Right. Yeah, and when he first faced the third baseman, he hit a lazy fly ball to, I believe it was right field.
He is awful. Absolutely awful.
And so I heard it on another podcast. Shout out, because we had Gordo on this podcast earlier this year, but I heard it on Play Tessie earlier of nobody is happier that Alex Bregman is on the shelf right now than Trevor Story because of the job security that he got from that. I think we all can agree Trevor Story is working himself out of a job. And when Alex Bregman comes back, provided that the team hasn't lost so much that we end up trading Bregman, it's going to be a pretty easy transition for Bregman to go back to third, and then Mayer immediately slot in at shortstop, and Trevor Story. What? Like,
Trevor Story might be gone even before Bregman comes back.
you think so?
I mean, there's a chance. You have a guy playing center that could play shortstop if you need him to. And I don't know. See, I know us three know this, but I don't think the Red Sox do. They have this dude named Roman Anthony, who they could bring up. And I mean, wouldn't fix every issue, but it would maybe just be a little bit of a spark, something that this team could use. They could bring him up. I don't know if they know that, though.
You mean the guy that just hit a piss missile 115 miles an hour off the bat just an hour ago as we're recording this on Tuesday night? Like,
So that's
no,
what I was going to say. When I said
we don't need that guy. We don't need him. Like, what are we doing here? Like, we don't need him at all. Yeah, the guy's just hitting nukes left and right like he's North Korea.
But he's also kind of, if you look at his season, you break it down into like 10 game spans. He's up and down in the OPS category too, just like all the guys we just went through. He's been very streaky as well. So if he comes up, what are you really going to get? I mean, seems like it's an organizational thing on the hitting side where these guys are just very streaky. I don't know.
Yeah, and to Nick's point earlier, I mean, it's an approach thing. Of their approach has been awful, particularly when we're talking about with runners in scoring position. I mean, they're not playing to their strengths, with the exception of really Duran and Devers. Devers and Duran should, or specifically Devers, should be the only guy that when you go up, say, just hit the ball as hard as you can, because he's really the only one that seems to be able to do it consistently. And so, go ahead, Nick.
I was going to say, in terms of the approach, so maybe let's not kick the guy that's in the Hall of Fame out of spring training and not listen to the guy that flamed out in D2 college baseball as your hitting guru, whatever that hitting program it was. I forgot what virtual reality or whatever in spring training that the guys were using. Like, the guy that wasn't the guy that started that company flamed out in D2 college baseball. But yeah, Jim Rice knows less than him. Yeah, it's really starting to rear its head now.
Well, and ultimately that comes back on Cora, right? Go ahead.
Why does it work for other teams but not us then? A lot of these other teams are using it's Driveline. What you're talking? That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, I just can't think of the name of the company. Yes. Yeah.
They use Driveline. The Dodgers use it. I think the Phillies use it. A lot of these.
Yeah, no, Dave Dombrowski fired their ass. Dave Dombrowski came in and yes, the Dodger before Dombrowski got there, but the Dodgers are just good because they spend $5 billion on their roster. That is not Driveline. That's the roster. Like, if you have a roster like the Dodgers,
do himself that Driveline.
And to take Ref Snyder's quote, what did he say? We suck right now. They do suck right now.
I don't see how that correlates.
I don't see how Driveline correlates either, other than a negative correlation.
On the hitting coach side, though, did you see Manny Ramirez's tweet? He said, if any team wants to hire me, I would work for you as your hitting coach. I have a lot to teach, and I can make any offense better.
I'm out on the idea because because of Manny's work ethic as a player, where he was known to go off out of the blue and not hear from him. So,
well, but he'd be the hitting coach. He's just teaching him how to hit, not be a off the field guy or on the field and stuff like that.
Yeah, but Manny Ramirez, he also was known for not being on the field when he should have been. He would skip games to go hang out in the hotel bar with friends, and teammates would not know where he is. So I'm talking more about the work ethic of Manny Ramirez as a coach. For a team that really needs more structure, as it turns out, and needs to build that structure and culture in that winning environment, I don't think Manny is the guy for that, is my point.
You guys want a stat to completely just destroy our argument here? You want to take a wild guess at where the Red Sox land in terms of the league with runners in scoring position?
They're probably
Batting
middle of the
average?
pack, maybe
Probably
12th.
13.
You guys talked over each other. What did you say?
I said
13.
12.
Nick says 12. Think you're at 13.
Yeah, probably like 7.
You're actually not that far off. They're currently sitting in 11th in the league in runners in scoring position. As they
There's also some. I was going to say there's also some outlier games in there too that you can think of. That St. Louis game early on, that game the other day against Baltimore where they put up 16, 18 runs. There's a couple of games
19.
in there where they select fit 19. So there's some outlier games in there for sure, but that's still not gonna get it done because they'll have 3 or 4 games where they hit the cover off the ball, but then they'll go a week with their game shut out or 1 run against Baltimore 2 straight games, who has the worst starting rotation in the league. So it's just they're a 500 team, and it shows. Like they'll go on a streak for 3 or 4 days, and then you'll get a stretch like we got right now where they lose 3 in a row in 3 games that they shouldn't have.
Yeah, and at what point, as we were talking about this, they're not playing small ball. They're not. When they are getting on base, which they are doing, they're not bringing these runs in. They're not playing small ball. I mean, you look at Rafaela it's been publicized that he's missed 2 bunt calls. He's missed the sign twice during this season, and I mean, for me, that's inexcusable. You're a professional athlete. You're being coached and told to do something. And not only did he miss the bunt sign, but he also swung and fouled the ball back on a guaranteed David Hamilton steal the other day. And so those are just mistakes that they add up. 1 or 2 of those a game times 162 games, they add up. And so it's those kinds of things that you can just continually shoot yourself in the foot. I mean, David Hamilton's probably, if not the fastest guy on the team, one of, and he runs into outs all the time, trying to be too aggressive. And so get back to the fundamentals, slap the ball the other way, steal some bags, bunt a guy over. That, and honestly, for me as a fan, that was when baseball was most fun, when there was a lot of action. I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel as though that's when baseball is best, is when it's 2 teams out maneuvering each other on a chessboard, because it's not just long ball or nothing.
Right.
No, yeah,
I was going to say the 3 true outcomes has killed the sport and of what we used to know. Where it's always strikeouts, walks, or home runs now. That's what the teams play for, and there isn't that small ball aspect. There's no more hit and runs and all that. And the National League, for the longest time, still held on to that because you still had the pitchers hit. You had strategy. You knew anytime the pitcher was coming up, there was going to be some bunts. You had to, when do you pull the guy? When do you double switch? Are you making the 8-hole hitter hit and run because there's a guy on first with 1 out and the pitcher's on deck? Like that's where you had that, like you said, that game of chess. Now where both leagues have the DH because it was supposed to get another guy in the lineup and drive ratings and drive offense. It doesn't really when all 9 guys are up there swinging out of their fucking ass. It just doesn't compute. Like you go back and watch a game from 2003 or 2004, like how much it guts me to watch it, but when they played Game 7 of the 2003 ALCS on MLB Network as one of the 20 greatest games ever played, like it's night and day of how the game was played. And that was just 22 years ago. We're not even going back to the 80s or 70s before the steroid era. Like, it's just different now. And it, honestly, the game sucks. And that's not a Red Sox thing. That's a baseball thing. The game sucks.
That sounds pretty negative.
It was meant to be negative because there's no positive in that whatsoever.
Okay. Let me ask you guys this. Do you think this team can still make the playoffs?
Yes.
Yes.
What's it going to take?
There's a getting their heads out of their ass.
Give me,
Getting
tell me
Robert
the
Anthony in here.
I was having this conversation with a Yankee fan today, actually, and we were talking about really the juxtaposition between current Yankees and current Red Sox. So Red Sox are 7.5 back, which obviously in May that's quite a lot of the Yankees right now as we record. But when you look at the two rosters, when you look at the two things that have gone on to date that has led to that 7.5 games, I mean, you have Aaron Judge over there hitting 400. You have freaking Paul Goldschmidt's hitting 350 here at the end of May. You have Cody Bellinger's doing well. You have Volpe's back to not booting the ball quite as much. You had Will Warren giving meaningful innings. You have Carlos Rodon and Max Fried pitching like they're the next coming of Randy Johnson. I mean, they have everything going right in New York right now, and they're up 7.5 games. We've had our first baseman that was he underperforming? Absolutely, but he was supposed to be and should be a large part of the Red Sox identity. Blow his knee out. We had Trevor Story be one of, if not the worst, Major League Baseball player currently in the league this year. We have Tanner Houck forgetting how to throw the ball. I mean, we've had several things go wrong, and we're only 7.5 back. And so, I mean, tonight's a perfect example. A guy like Richard Fitz, right? I mean, he was one of, I mean, nobody's going to surpass Crochet right now, but he was easily the number 2, the way that he was throwing the ball before he went down. And getting a guy like him back, getting a guy like Cutter Crawford back to be able to lengthen that bullpen. You know, we have 3 guys right now that are on pace for 60 appearances out of the bullpen in Slayton, Chapman, and Whitlock. And Whitlock's usually going more than 1 inning. I mean, that's completely unsustainable. So you get a guy like Cutter Crawford back. You get a guy like you get a guy like, go ahead, Fink.
Cora said tonight before the game that Hunter Dobbins is working out of the pen tomorrow.
And that's exactly my point, is you get guys like that to be able to lengthen that out, and it just raises the floor, right? So we need the pitching to come around. We need the pitching to be able to improve. And then we need guys like a Christian Campbell to get his feet under him. We need a guy like Marcelo Mayer to get his feet under him. We need a guy like Alex Bregman to come back. It doesn't really get any worse for Trevor Story. So even if he gets 10% better, that's 10% from 0 pretty much. We need a guy like Roman Anthony to come up, hit those 115, what do you call them, Nick? Piss missiles. So at Fenway thank you, at Fenway rather than in Worcester. And so when you say, is playoffs still very much on the table? Absolutely. It's going to take some damn good ball games and some good play. But I refuse to quit on the quality of the players of this team. I think they're too good to be this current version of the Red Sox. And that's why I'm Mr. Right.
I do like that answer a lot. Tony, clip that. Thanks, Tony. Yeah, Tony can't be here today. He started his new job. Can't disclose what that is. It's a pretty important role, so we'll have him talk about it when he's back on.
Male stripper.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. We'll have him talk about it, but Christian Campbell?
Yeah, I kind of want. I think you were going to ask the question that was at the front of my mind, Nate.
Yep. How much do you think moving him around is impacting his bat right now?
It definitely has some.
Can't help.
Yeah, I think that's it. But I think there's also like every level he played at, he started the season off like really bad in the first month. Obviously, The first month here, he kind of dominated, but so I guess we're getting the bad month now. I want
also
to
keep in mind.
wait. What's up?
Also
Yeah.
keep in mind that he's a Georgia boy, went to Georgia Tech. We started the year in Texas, right? Warm weather, and then cold. I'm not saying that that's the only factor, but that is a factor that has to be at play here. Not to mention they're starting to get a scouting report on this guy. He does have a unique swing path. And so pitchers are going to be able to exploit it. I mean, this is a game of failure, right? And so this is something that I would expect him to be able to write this course because he's too damn good of a ball player. And to your point, Fink, I mean, I think that he has those ebbs and flows before he just goes nuclear. Go ahead, Nick.
I was going to say, back to your original point about jumping around, it shouldn't fall on a rookie that's trying to get his feet underneath him on how to be a big leaguer and get that big league routine down to jump around and plug holes. When it shouldn't fall on the rookie and the youngest guy in the clubhouse when your superstar is refusing to do it. And he put up a stinking spring training. We hammer this point every time we talk the Sox. And Devers deserves credit and all the credit in the world for what he's doing in the box. But Christian Campbell is taking the bullet that Rafi Devers has routinely dodged this year. And that's more, and I see it, Fink, but I'm just finishing up the sentence. And that shouldn't fall on the kid. That should fall on the vet in the room and your leader. If he's not going to lead by vocally, lead by example. And Campbell's the one taking the preferably bullet, or however you say that goddamn word that I'm stuttering over. Okay, Fink.
I don't even know if that's fair to say because this happened last year too. Story goes down. Rafael is getting thrown around everywhere, and it's his rookie year too. I mean, this isn't a great example, but Nick Sogard. I mean, you bring him up, and now he's playing all these different positions. He played third when Bregman went down. He's playing first. He plays everywhere. I think it just if they have these young controlled pieces, they just do whatever they want. Say, go out there, go play here, go play there, and you don't really have a say. Nate?
Can I just say, like, how this is a perfect example of how much we took for granted the greatness that was Brock Holt? I mean, he was that role, and he was a leader, and he was a clubhouse guy, and he played.
He was an all-star.
Well, yeah, I mean,
We
don't really want to throw that team. You and I could have been an all-star on that team, but that's my point, right? Is he was such a calming presence that allowed those guys to then go out and do what they needed to do to be in the position that they needed to be in to succeed. And so that's where I feel as though Rafaela would be best, is in that do it all, a couple times a week kind of guy. But we need some more depth. We need a Roman Anthony to get up here. We need Tristan Casas or somebody to be a consistent first baseman in order to do that. So go ahead, Nick.
Do you put any stock into the idea that Roman Anthony's not up here right now because the Rookie of the Year race in service time?
No. Reason being is, I mean, this is, and I think, again, going back to the guys that have helped us get to this point, the Play Tessie boys, Pat Brown on the show put it perfectly. This is a decision that you're going to have to make in the near future anyway. And you have three guys under team control in Duran, Rafaela, and Wilyer Abreu. And so these are guys that you have under team control. They're going to be difficult conversations regardless, whether it's now or 6 months from now. And obviously Anthony's a guy that you're going to want to extend anyway, presumably. And so I don't think that at this point that is playing a factor because, I mean, really, what are the chances that he comes up in June? And if he's so nuclear that he's rookie of the year, then that just means that the Red Sox are in a much better position than they were without him. So to that point, may I just bring up that I think Carlos Narvaez should get a lot more rookie of the year love.
Well, he's in second right now. He's
Guy is-
voted when if the voting went off today. He'd be in seed when, or he'd come in second. Excuse me. Jacob
He's in
Wilson.
killing
first.
Jacob Wilson.
which is fair.
Mhm.
Which is fair. But I just think, I mean, Carlos Narvaez for what he's doing, and I mean, he's currently with Bregman on the shelf. He's currently leading the team in batting average at 297. As a defense first catcher and a guy that, I mean, all of the pitching staff raves throwing to him because of the strikes that he's able to steal and his blocking ability. I mean, that and like a Weissert or a Richard Fitz. I mean, these are guys, or a Garrett Whitlock, guys that we've just absolutely stolen from the Yankees. And that brings happiness to my heart. So when we steal guys from their farm system and they end up working out for us. Go ahead, Nick.
To go back to the point of the game sucks nowadays compared to 20 years ago, the team leader in batting average is not hitting 300. Like, go back 20 years, how many 300 hitters were in the game league wide? And now you got maybe league wide, maybe a dozen, maybe. I don't know the exact number, but it's not much more than that, where you used to have 40 to 50 guys be 300 hitters. You had one or two on each team, and you don't have that anymore. So it made me think of it when you said the team leader is at 297.
Well, I mean, back 20 years ago, not every team had 7 guys in the bullpen coming out throwing 98-mile-an-hour sinkers, throwing 91-mile-an-hour sliders, throwing changeups that are faster than some guys' fastballs were back then. Like, and on top of that, it's every inning, it's a different guy doing that. It's a different arsenal. It's a different arm slot. It's completely different than baseball was 20 years ago. Yes, the hitting philosophy has changed as well because guys are throwing harder, so they're just saying swing hard and let it go far. But I mean, guys back then weren't seeing it. You're seeing low 90s. You're seeing guys painting the corners and just let the ball get deep, hit it the other way. Like, you can put more bat on ball that way when you're not seeing 99 the entire game from the left side, from the right side. Like, Nate, then Nick.
Well, and this goes back to our point of, that's when they were pitching rather than throwing. Right now, it's so analytical that they're throwing because they can get away with it 9 times out of 10, and they're willing to sacrifice that one. Whereas a guy like Pedro or Greg Maddux, I mean, Greg Maddux was always an artist, but Pedro knew that he could sit 92 in the first inning, and then in the 7th, he was touching 96 because he could. And he was adjusting, and he was pitching rather than throwing. And so that's where I think the game's in a really difficult spot, because I don't see an easy fix for that.
Yeah, you can't tell
The
guys
best-
to not
the
throw hard. Like,
The best fix I ever heard, which the players union would never go for it, move the mound back a foot. Instead of 60 feet 6 inches, make it 61 6
then
inches.
dude's going to be
They
throwing
ran
110.
No, they ran the numbers. It would cut the average velocity down about 2 miles an hour, and that's just a
Yeah,
split
I
second
don't see
time hitters need.
Well, and I, sorry, I don't actually hate that idea in the sense of that would then probably move guys back towards being more, maybe not finesse, but it'd be a lot harder to overpower somebody. And so I'm trying to think of a guy that has a lot of think of a guy like Tanner Houck, that he's not going to go out and he's going to overpower guys, but he has so much run on both arm and glove side that giving him another foot, he's going to be able to make the ball dance like prime Tim Wakefield.
I would argue that
RIP.
And I know
that control would also go down, though. If you get another foot back, like, think about the dudes that are throwing 22, that have 22 inches of break on their slider. Like, another foot back, we're talking 4 feet of break. How do you control that?
You
But
learn to pitch.
I think that right,
And
exactly.
I
And
think
I know
where
a lot of our viewers.
the velocity would
I was going to
stay
say,
down that long. Go, Nick.
I was going to say, I think a lot of our viewers listening to that idea are going to say, "Oh my God, injuries will jump up." Injuries are already jumped. We're at record high of Tommy John surgeries. Like it can't get any worse than it is right now. Like so, injuries in my mind for this type of idea go out the window because what do you got to lose at this point? Where 20 years ago, Tommy John surgeries were once in a blue moon. Now it's a rite of passage.
Just because we're trying to keep this a pretty condensed episode, as there's not a whole lot of major news to talk about. I had one other. Did you guys see Nick Castellanos' anti-tanking idea from a
I
couple weeks
heard it
ago?
and I saw it and I'm trying to remember it. So can you enlighten us?
So his idea, and I'm very much in favor of this. I'll just throw that out right now. I think it would create an incredible gamesmanship, if you will, is if you are a bottom half in terms of payroll and you miss the playoffs for 5 consecutive years. Okay, so you have to qualify both. You have to be a bottom 5 payroll and you have to miss the playoffs 5 consecutive years. Then your team automatically goes up to auction. You can rebuy your team, but you're going to have to compete against other people that want to buy your team now. And that rather than set a floor and a ceiling in terms of salary caps and things like that, make the owners put their money where their mouth is and invest in their players. What do you guys think?
I just don't know how that would work.
Like I like the concept. It'll never go through.
It would never go through, but it's such an interesting idea because
absolutely.
it's not as if you're going to take somebody's team away. They can rebuy their team, but now they're going to have to bid against other people that want their team. That would drive prices up, the team prices, and it would require that they then either put a good roster on the field so that they don't miss the playoffs 5 consecutive years. And every time that you hit one of those qualifiers, it resets the clock. But then, or you spend to the top half. And let's be honest, I mean, it's so disproportionate of the top 3 to 5 teams versus the rest of the league anyway. It's not like being the top 15 is going to be too crazy hard.
So what if I am spending money, but we just keep getting hurt and we don't make the playoffs for 5 years?
If you're in the top half, it resets as long as you're in the top half spending.
Yeah, then I don't see why it wouldn't work. I like that.
I thought that was a really creative idea from
the Sox
him.
are technically, right?
Rather than set at some arbitrary number that you have to spend to and give dollars to guys that don't deserve it, build an actual team, build a farm system, build through the infrastructure so that you don't fall into these qualifiers that then, that some of these teams might fall victim into. And that would really levelize things because I don't think we'd ever have to worry about the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Dodgers falling into the bottom 15 of payroll. But then you have the guys like the Rays that now they actually have to go out and spend some money to be competitive again. And then that lifts their floor. From a player's perspective, I don't know why you wouldn't want something like that. Because
the players would sign off on that in a heartbeat. It's the 30 owners that will shut it down in a millisecond.
I don't know if all 30 would though. If you're already in that top half and if you're a big market team, why wouldn't you want to vote for that?
And think about the revenue share. Like your revenue share would go way up if you were already one of those top 15 teams. So that's where I think, to Fink's point, I don't think that all owners would be opposed to that.
I think if I'm a big market, I'm voting for that. Does it get passed? Probably not. But I think if I'm John Henry, I'm voting for it. If I'm the owners over at Chavez Ravine, I'm probably voting for it.
Magic Johnson and co.
They own the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's AIDS. So what do we think? Bottom three right now in Milwaukee, 2 on, 2 outs.
Who's out?
William Contreras.
Oh shit! I thought we were up to bat. My bad.
No, it's bottom of the third. We're on the road today.
I didn't hear you say bottom third. I just heard you say 2 out and 2 on.
Sorry. All right. So what do we think? Wrap this thing up. Bring in Chapman.
I think Fitz looks good, is what I think.
Yeah, I like Fitz. I just don't know how long he goes in this because first rehab outing threw 38 pitches, and then he was supposed to have another one, and they just brought him. They activated him, so I can't really see him going more than 65, 70 maybe, if that.
Wasn't it? He was uber efficient, wasn't he? Wasn't it like 36 pitches and 31 or 32 of them were strikes?
Yeah, but still, I mean,
Well,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
care
I'm just saying that
strikes, but
for
38 balls.
for a rotation that has struggled to just pound the zone
No,
and
yeah,
throw
you're
strikes and then let the ball do the rest, which is supposedly everything that Andrew Bailey talks about is throw strikes and then let the ball do the rest.
yeah. I think
They haven't really been very good at doing that.
we need a whole episode on Bailey because, like, all these dudes' numbers are now down across the board. Even Crochet, like, I can't just be a 1 or 2 guy thing. It's got to be something. But there's also all the guys in the minors that are throwing 100, and like David Sandlin. I don't know if you've been keeping up with him, but he's as legit as they come. It's like it's working in the minors, but why is it not working here? Why did it work for Hauk for half a year? Like, why is Bayo now like insufferable? He can't even get through 5.
Yeah, again, a guy that can't throw strikes. Or why can't we identify that Whitlock is tipping pitches before he gets absolutely shelled multiple times in a row?
Well, I think they finally did fix that, but yeah, like it shouldn't have to be multiple times in a row. It should be you have the technology and all these people that should be able to pick that up in no time. Like you have all these employees, all these people doing these things. You have you're watching that. I'm sure you're watching like video. How do you not see that? And how do you keep rolling him out there? I mean, I know you have to, but like you got to try and find that quicker. I think, but I don't know. I think that just goes back to what Nick was saying. This organization just needs more structure.
And accountability.
Yeah.
So as we close out episode 30, Nick, go ahead and plug those socials one time and let's wrap this thing up.
Can I give a final thought though, real quick?
You are absolutely right. We skipped over that. Go ahead and give your final thought.
So my final thought, I'm actually changing up sports a little bit because of the day on the calendar. May 27th, 2011. This is not a Walsh's Vault because I've talked about this game on Walsh's Vault before, but it's the 14th anniversary of the greatest hockey game I've been alive to watch live for the Bruins. Game 7, Eastern Conference Finals against Tampa Bay. 1-0 in regulation. No penalties on either side. Straight 60 minutes, 5-on-5. The game-winning goal doesn't come until 7 minutes left in the third period. An absolute gauntlet of a series and an absolute perfection of Game 7. The game-winning goal for it is David Krejci at his best. Gets the nice little outlet pass from Andrew Ference in the neutral zone. The 1-3-1 for Tampa Bay have been killing them all series long. They finally, for one shift, figured out how to solve it. David Krejci with his signature little saucer pass hits Nathan Horton right in front for a backdoor tap-in goal. Tim Thomas, unbelievable postseason with another shutout in Game 7. To this day, the greatest hockey game, start to finish, for the Boston Bruins I have ever watched. Today was the 14th anniversary of it, and I just wanted to shout it out.
Fink, closing thought? Or final thought, rather?
Yeah, bring up Anthony. Bring him up. And I'm not talking Roman. I'm talking Anthony Coughlin, our producer. Bring him up.
My final thought is, and I know that we haven't talked about this, but Nick inspired me by switching sports up a little bit. But can we just acknowledge that we have our own Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift? We've got Stephon Diggs and Cardi B, baby. Bring it on.
Too good right now. Did you see the stuff going around Twitter?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I did.
Great right now.
Oh, well,
That could be a whole episode.
maybe it's not great. Anyway, Nick, go ahead and plug those socials.
All right, getting my new job promotion back at it again. Find us on X, Boston Banner BP, Facebook and Instagram, Boston Banner Blueprint, TikTok, Boston Banner BLU, and Apple and Spotify and YouTube, Boston Banner Blueprint.
That's right. Go like, subscribe, and rate 5 stars on all those platforms. Thank you all for listening. Peace.